Alright you guys, thanks for checking out the video. Today I wanted to do a quick experiment with you guys. It's something that's really important that I think a lot of people don't think about or don't take into consideration. But about a week and a half ago, I was setting up my V3, and prior to getting the V3, I was super worried about the axle to axle of the bow because it's so short and I'm such a tall guy. I'm 6'1", and having a shorter inch axle to axle bow like that is not very conducive to having a very good string angle on your face. So I was worried about it, and so when I got it and I put it in my hand, my anxiety of it just completely went away. And the reason for it was because the bow feels like a tournament bow in your hand because the riser is so long on it that it gives a good, very stable feel to the bow, and the limbs are such beyond parallel position that it makes the axle to axle shorter. That still leaves the concern of whether or not the string angle is going to be bad on your face. But then I started looking at the bow and I realized the cams are huge on this bow. So if you look at the bow just at first glance, the riser itself is every bit of 32 inches from the limb pocket to limb pocket. It's I would say it's wider than the actual axle to axle of the bow, and the limb or the cams on this bow are huge. I mean, they're cantaloupe size. So after seeing that, I was like, well, this may not be that bad once I get it at full draw, depending on how the cams rotate and where the cams lock out at on the string stops. So what I did was I put the bow in the draw board, and I pulled it back on the draw board, and then I measured from string peak to string peak on the cam. So where the string starts to level out, where it starts to come back into the cam. So I go at the very peak of that, and then the very peak of that on the bottom as well. So I did that on this bow, and then I also did it on an older Matthews switchback, and I know it's going to be different for newer bows. This is just what I have, so I did it on this one just to give myself a good representative of how the string angle is going to affect me. So I just want to go ahead, throw these bows on the draw board real quick and show you guys what I did to get the data, I guess, that I came up with. And then I'm also going to measure the risers, and I'm going to show you guys the difference in the risers on the lengthwise for each axle to axle bow. And then I encourage you guys to do this later on whenever you're thinking about buying a new bow or something like that. Measure your string angle at full draw, because that's really what you need to be focused on. It's not really about the axle to axle of the bow. It's more about what the string angle is going to be, because like I said, the axle to axle of this bow is super short, but it feels super big in my hand. This bow feels really big in my hand, and that's not me just embellishing like this. That's the truth. It really feels super heavy duty, and it's there. You can feel it. Like other bows, you got so much limb to the bow that you really don't feel the bow that much. This bow is not like that. But yeah, I strongly encourage you guys to do this experiment on your own stuff, on your own equipment, and get a good data point of where your string angle is sitting right now. If you like what your setup it feels like at full draw, get that data, get that information, and then that way you can carry that over when you start looking for a new bow or you're in the market to buy a new bow. You can use that information to your advantage, and when you go in to buy a new bow from a shop or whatever, you can ask them, hey, can we put this on the draw board and measure the string angle? And a lot of people, I don't think, take that into consideration. So one, you'll probably get a lot better treatment at the shop because you're showing a little bit more knowledge base, I guess. So they're gonna probably treat you a lot better and make sure that your stuff is a lot tighter and tolerances, and making sure that your system is set up more properly. So that's a benefit from it. And then, just like I said, it's a benefit to just be able to have the information. So if you guys want, stick around. We're gonna switch out this bow press, turn it around, put it where I'm standing so that we have an inside view of the bow, and then we'll get to drawing the bows back. Alright guys, so we're just going to use a regular fabric type tape measure, and then we're going to go ahead and start first on this Matthews V3. And like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and put these string stops where they just barely brush the string. And a way that I like to do that is I like to get them really close. And if you have a power press, a last chance power press, you can actually just press the bow, and this will really be able to micro tune the way that your bow is timed. If you're really interested in doing that, this is how I time all my bows. I use the power press and actually adjust the way the press is to micro tune my timing. So we're both barely touching right there. So that's going to be the measurement, whatever we find here. So as you can see, this string comes up to about right here, and right here is about the peak of where the string angle comes out of the bow. So I don't want to go all the way up to here, to this point, because from here it kind of flattens out and it goes up a little bit, but that's not the string angle of the bow. The string angle is going to be like right around in here, because that's where it's straight from the point of the string. It comes to about right there and stops. We'll get a measurement, and that'll be our string angle for the Matthews V3-31 inch. So put our tape right about there, down to right about here, and you're looking at about right around 33 and an eighth right now is the measurement I'm getting, about 33 and an eighth. So that's going to be the string angle for this bow. We're going to go ahead and take this one out, put the other one in, and we'll do the same thing on the older Matthews switchback bow. So let's set that to the side. We'll grab our Matthews switchback. And on this one, I'm just going to the way the timing marks work on this bow is you want to make sure that your timing marks are vertical. So we got this thing to full draw and the timing on it correct. So what we're going to do is the same thing. This one doesn't have two cams, so we're just going to go off the string angle of where this idler wheel starts to curve over, just like the other cam, and then we'll go to the bottom cam, which is pretty rounded as well, and we'll measure from right about there. So with this one right now, we're looking at right around 33 and a half-ish. About 33 and a half inches on this one versus 33 and an eighth. Both these bows are very, very similar at full draw based off of the string angle, which is the most important thing as far as the feel of the bow. Well, not the most important thing, but one of the most important things as far as the feel of the bow goes. So all I'm saying is don't use this as your only or most important aspect to the way the bow is set up or what kind of bow you like, but take it into consideration because it is something that can help you out in the future. Alright, so let's go ahead and move this camera, and then we'll measure these risers out real quick, and then we'll close out of the video. Okay, so we got the camera moved, and we're going to go ahead and take our tape measure. We'll start with the switchback this time since it's right here. And we're going to measure from this point on the riser of the bow to this point on the riser of the bow. And the reason I'm not doing the back side of the riser of the bow is because of the way that they make risers so that you can have a beyond parallel or parallel limb bow. This point on the riser is just going to be a more consistent measuring point for different bows and different risers. Alright, so let's go ahead, throw a tape on this thing real quick here. Alright, that'll be a pretty straight measurement. So we have for the Matthews switchback, we're looking at right around 21 and a half, a little under 21 and a quarter ish. Well, you could say 21 and a half if you want to be overly generous. So 21 and a quarter, 21 and a half for this Matthews switchback. So we're going to go ahead and lay down this V3 and do the same measurement on that one. Alright you guys, so we got the V3 laying down here in front of us, and now we're going to go ahead and do the same exact measurement that we did on the other one, on this one. So we're going to do from this point to this point on the riser. We're going to measure that, and we're going to see what kind of riser length we're looking at from bow to bow here. So let's go ahead and throw this tape on here. Try to keep the tape as straight as possible here again. All right, so we're looking at around 27 3/4, 28-ish. Probably closer to 28 than 27.5. All right, you guys, so those are some pretty large positive measurement differences for a bow that is supposed to be 3 inches shorter axle to axle than another bow. And like I said, I know that that bow is an older bow, and maybe it's not a very good representative of newer bows out there, but it's just something to give you guys, just get your wheels turning, make you think about some things that maybe you wouldn't think about otherwise. It's something that I think was pretty helpful to me, and it helped ease my mind, if nothing else, whenever I pulled this out of the box and I did this measurement before. And so hopefully it's something that you guys will enjoy, you can use in the future. And if you don't mind, please do like, share, subscribe, comment, do all that fun stuff. And if you want to, save the video to your watch later list so that you can get back to the video later on. Thank you guys for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one.